Hi everybody, we've got a special interview today. I'm with the main man in Italy, Joseph Luraschi. Did I say that properly?
You did.
He's Luraschi.
You did, Luraschi.
Yeah. He's a chiropractor, I'm a chiropractor. I'm working out of Alicante, Spain, in Clínica Cuor. We've got a big YouTube channel and I'm here to reconnect with an old friend and a high achiever here in Italy. And we're going to talk all things chiropractic and various bits and bobs. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's awesome to be here.
It's fun.
I've had a lovely time in Como, Lake Como.
It's been a while.
And it's great to be here in Milan. So what's up? How you doing?
Good. Everything is fine. I'm trying to find my balance with 4 kids. But work is good. Family's good. How are you?
Yeah, really, really well. Congratulations, by the way, for the most recent one. How long ago was that and how old is he?
February. So it's like 3 months. Actually, Today is May the 4th, and he was born on the 4th of February. So it's 3 months today. Yeah, cool. Baby number 4. So I got 2 girls, 2 boys. I hope at least one of them wants to become a chiropractor. Further down the line, we'll see. I don't know.
Nice. Well, you're twice as busy as me. I've just got the 2 kids. So all good. So let's get straight into some content. I mean, let's start with like the best bit. Like, I'm really intrigued about your story. How did you become so popular with treating celebrities, Instagram? How did you get in there?
Where do I begin? I would say that it's all about being in the right place at the right time, and it's all about always saying yes, always being available, never say no, because when you get to a certain target of people of patience, once you say no, that you're not available, they'll go look for someone else. So it all began like out of nowhere. So I didn't have an Instagram account. I had Facebook back in college, ACC in Bournemouth. Sure. I had a Facebook account, but I didn't have an Instagram account. And I've always wanted to work with the entertainment industry. So sports, here in Italy, we're big with our soccer, with our calcio.
Sure.
Serie A. So I do know several chiropractors who have been working with professional soccer teams.
Yeah.
When I started working as a chiropractor, I graduated 2009 from Bournemouth, and I got into a professional basketball team right away through friends and connections.
Okay.
So I was working with basketball, and one of my associates, who is a mentor of mine, got me into wrestling. So the WWE was coming to Italy.
Did you do some wrestling?
No, I was adjusting them in the backstage before the shows. That was fun. I'll tell you a story about that. So it all began with me thinking, how do I get into backstage with music concerts? Because I'm a big music fan. I like music. I like doing music. I like going to concerts. So I thought to myself, how do I get into the backstage and actually offer my services and meet the artists? So long story short, it was on LinkedIn. I started investigating artists of certain bands, trying to get into the backstage, and I found connections through people. Like, it's amazing. Do you know have you ever heard of the rule, the 6 degrees of separation?
I've heard bits and bobs.
It's a book. Like, we're all connected to every person on the planet through 6 other connections.
Sure.
Anyway, now with the social media, it's down to like 2.5 or something like that. So I call this guy and I say, do you know these guys who work with this band? And he goes, yeah, I'll get you in touch with some people. So I got one of the workers in the clinic with me, and I adjusted him. I was like, wow, amazing. I've never heard of chiropractic care. I've never done it, because in Italy, we'll talk about it in a while.
Sure.
In Italy, the situation is completely different than England or Spain or America.
Yep.
And what happened is I adjusted this guy, haven't heard from him, and out of nowhere, a month after, I got a phone call from one of the big productions in Milan saying, I got Sting, who is performing tonight here in Milan. Can you come and adjust him? And I'm like, I beg your pardon, excuse me? In Italian, what? I got your number through this other guy, and we need an adjustment for Sting. Okay, so I went to the secretary's front office and I said, all right, cancel my whole diary, I'm not here today. Took my portable table and went down to Sting. And
nice.
And the way I am, like very Italian, I didn't adjust just him, I adjusted the whole crew. People, light, technicians, music, sound, in this place where he was going to perform that evening. I left. Another month down the line, and I still didn't have Instagram.
And you didn't charge for that, did you?
No, I didn't. Well, when you get your foot in the door, sometimes I think that it's worth it. It's not about the money. You know, it took me, it was 2 hours of my day.
It's the value.
It's the value, the face and the name and the number. So another month goes by, and I got another phone call from the same person saying, "Hi, do you remember me? I got this national radio speaker. She's going on air in a few hours, and she's got a shoulder problem. Can you check her out?" I said, "Why not?" So I go and adjust this woman, lovely girl, and I fix her, and she goes on national radio telling everybody my name, who I am, where I work. And by then I had started an Instagram page, and it starts going bing, 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 bing. And I got a phone call from the husband of this woman, who is actually the owner of the place where Sting played the month before.
Nice.
That's who you are, this and that. So, you know, tying up some knots and lines. I get invited because this guy says, "Listen, tell me what you want, like name it, I'll get it for you. You fixed my wife, a little miracle, you know. We're not miracle workers, but." And I said, "Listen, I'm looking for these tickets for this gig." And he goes, "Oh, I can do better. I have this festival in July, and I want you to be there every single evening in the backstage as a resident Chiro." So I was there. I took the whole week off in the evenings. I was there every single evening, showing up with a T-shirt saying chiropractor, nice, with my bench with a skeleton, and I adjusted people like Carlos Santana, Alanis Morissette, Jethro Tull, Robert Plant, Iron Maiden, Justice, MGMT, and all these famous celebrities. And you know, pictures start going up on the net. My name starts going around in the backstages with the production office because. Yeah. It's not the artist, but it's the whole entourage around it. Mm-hmm. So you got all these people coming to see those concerts, and they're obviously from Milan. So I start getting into the people from influencers, radio personalities, TV personalities, commercials, and everybody's like, "Oh, go check this guy out. You got to try this, got to try that." So the ball starts rolling, and eventually I get down to these two big names on Italian social media. And they tag me in a few stories of theirs. It's like the equivalent of like an American Kim Kardashian, something like that. Nice. And it's like, boom, millions of views overnight. And the ball started rolling back then in 2018, and it's still rolling now.
So it's a bit like a spider web. You just started off in the center, and then you started a few strands out, and then they were all interconnected, and then it just out of nowhere.
So I don't consider myself better than anybody else. It's just that I'm there when the phone rings, and it's like, okay, I'll tell you what, George Clooney down the road on the lake. He's like, "We need an adjustment for Mr. Clooney." All right, cancel everything, I'm going. It's like that, you know, because those people, if you say no, they'll find someone else.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of being available, finding a balance without missing out on your regular patients, because your bread and butter in your clinic is your ongoing patients. Yeah. And it's fun. It's fun because with social media, I personally trebled my work. Nice. Seriously, my numbers went up ×3 because people started coming in and wanting to try. And then obviously I wrote a book and all this stuff just to top it off. Sure. And if I could give one suggestion to our viewers and people following us, is that you cannot have a business nowadays in 2024 and not have an internet presence, website, Instagram, social media. You cannot afford to not have one.
Yeah, I think like your web page is like your shop front, and then having a social media presence, whether it be an Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is, or a combination of all of them, that's like your CV now.
It's like, better than a CV.
Yeah, I mean, like an actual CV. I mean, we hire receptionists, and I barely look at CVs.
Yeah. You know, look at your Instagram pages.
Yeah, one of the things we actually do to find out if we like them or not, is see if they're going to be a good fit, is that we get them to send a selfie video.
Okay.
And it's a nice way to check out the vibe. But the point is, it's changing now away from like having like this paper CV that says I've got these credentials. People want to see like the real person. They want to see, you know, maybe a little bit about your personal life, where you get up to, who you mix with, what your interests are. And people are aligning much more these days with people who have similar kind of values.
Yep.
And so it's really, really important. And the more that you kind of lay out and say exactly what it is you believe in and where you're heading, you will attract a bunch of other people. Have you, has your, this is a bit of a dramatic question, has your life changed much? Or like, do you get noticed a lot more, like on the street or anything? Now you're kind of more famous, let's say.
I'm not to that level. I wouldn't say I walk down the street and like I got paparazzis and cameras. No, I'm not at that level. I've had a few big shot moments on YouTube with a few famous Italian YouTubers.
Yeah.
So I do get a lot of, I would say more youngsters, like under 18s, who recognize me from the video with that guy or the video with the other YouTuber. And it does happen. And my wife hates it. My wife hates it. By the way, we both have an osteopathic wife. An osteopath as a wife, and I remember this one time we went out for dinner, and my wife is like, "Please, let's go for dinner in a place where you're not going to spend the whole evening sitting on your phone or talking to the waiter because he knows you." Or seriously, these are the requests. Like, let's go for dinner in a place where we can sit down, turn the phone off. Yeah. So we decided to go to this sushi restaurant that we hadn't tried yet. And as we sit down, the waiter comes up and looks at me and goes, "Are you the chiropractor?" And my wife's like, seriously, that happened.
But it's quite difficult these days to get a balance between healthy use of social media. Yeah. So, for example, you want to be like making social media and not consuming too much of it. But once you start like producing content and making content, you also want to find out what other people are doing. So you end up consuming more. So it's very difficult to get a good balance between consuming it and then also producing it.
And at the end of the day, your final goal is what is motivating you to do it. Like, why are you on social media? For me personally, I'm doing it to get patients through the door to work more as a chiropractor. Yeah. So it's pointless for me to get views in New Zealand or Canada because they're not going to come down to Milan, you know? And so it's mainly in Italian. All my content is in Italian. The occasional content, like this content will be in English, maybe with subtitles, or with AI will change it in another language. But there's no point going global if you're using it to convert for your main job.
Yep.
You know, people out there use it to then go and make money with brands, and that's understandable. But that's also pushing kids and a younger generation away from studying, getting a degree, and getting a real job.
Yeah.
Okay, it's wrong to call it a real job because it is a real job, even on Instagram. But nowadays, I do get a lot of patients who come in with their kids asking me to tell their kids to please finish school, make sure the school is a priority. You know,
Sure.
But you know, we were talking about it last night. School nowadays is so different, no matter where you go. And
just to go back to what you commented on already about like tips for other people. Let's say we're talking to some chiropractors or other health professionals, physios, osteopaths, acupuncturists. What would be? I mean, you've already mentioned one thing with regards to social media and tips. Is there any other main things that people should really focus on to help them get them exposure on social media and legacy media as well?
Well, nowadays, I think it's really important to set a standard, like professionally. Like we are chiropractors, so let's talk about chiropractic for a second. In Italy, there are thousands of other professions. I'm not going to name and shame anybody, but there's
Please do.
No, not going to name and shame, but there's thousands of other people doing things that are very similar to what I do. So social media is very dangerous on this point of view, because if I put out a video of a full examination of the way I do it, you know, we got our model here in the back. If I show on YouTube how to do a certain technique, people who are not chiropractors are going to take that video and try it at home. You know, when you say kids don't try this at home, you know, the whole disclaimer.
They're going to do it.
Exactly. So when it comes down to justifying your price for what you're asking for and the time it takes you, as we were talking last night, you know, if we studied our whole life and we're still studying to be able to fine-tune the nervous system, get an adjustment done in a certain way, and the competition is fierce nowadays. It's it all comes down to education. That's a great part of the job that I love. I love educating my patients.
And then also you're using social media as a platform to educate.
To educate, exactly.
Okay.
It's not just a big show off.
Yeah,
it's not just a big, oh, look at me, I adjusted Carlos Santana. No, it's look at me. I adjusted Carlos Santana because Carlos Santana trusted me because I am a real chiropractor.
It's almost like you hook the audience with the Carlos Santana or whoever it is or whatever it is you've done. And then once you've got them hooked, then you can start to educate them on whatever you want to educate. Yeah. So you would recommend people staying professional, go for educating the audience, giving value basically.
Yep.
Right?
And one phrase I always use in Italian that I tell people is do one thing and do it properly.
Do you mean like one social?
No.
Okay.
Be a chiropractor
Gotcha.
and do that. You want to be a physio? Be just a physio. You want to be an osteopath? Be an osteopath. The problem, I'm talking about Italy. In Italy, you have these people, these persons who work God knows where, and they tell their patients that they do this, they do that, they've done that, they've done a course in this, they know how to do that, they've studied that, they've seen YouTube videos. So why, it's almost like trying to show off. If you do 1,000 things mediocrely, how do you say it in English?
Yes,
you'll never
absolutely.
I'd rather do one thing and do it good.
Yeah, so they're like specialists in many things, but nothing. But you're just sticking to your guns and you're just doing your one thing.
Be a chiropractor, exactly. So this is a bit of in Italian, we say a frecciatina. What's the word in English? You poke a little poke at other people trying to do what we do. And it's an ongoing battle. It's always been an ongoing battle. But no matter what profession you are, even if you're a dentist, a lawyer, whatever, stick to what you do, stick to your core values, be proud of what you're doing. Don't,
And I suppose in a way you're just basically saying be yourself. So if you're going to go on social media, be yourself and be true to who you are.
Exactly.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, good. What else can we talk about with social media? I've got a long list of questions here.
Social media is the main thing because now it just went bang, and we went from Facebook to Instagram now to TikTok and all these. TikTok is just people doing these dances.
You've got some quite big videos on TikTok actually.
I did. Yeah.
So you've done quite well. Let's move on from social media a little bit. We've been talking a little bit about chiropractic. And maybe you've been asked this loads of times before, but I'm going to ask you again anyway. So first of all, what is chiropractic for you? What does it mean for you? And second, how does chiropractic relate to health, in your opinion?
I had my first adjustment, I think I was 2 weeks old.
Do you remember?
I don't remember that one. my mother from America, my mom is American, so we are who we are brought up to be by our parents, Sure. So my mom, as she grew up chiropractic, she brought me up chiropractic. So I've been adjusted and checked my whole life. So I do not remember the last time I had medications, surgery, the last time I was sick, I don't remember. So I consider myself one of the healthiest people I know personally.
Yeah.
I don't know about Spain, but in Italy, people are always around with like pills in their bags, or they suffer with a change of climate. It's like, oh, everybody's sick. Parents keeping their kids home from school because they got the sniffles and a little bit of fever.
I think that's happening more and more. Or maybe we're just getting older and the younger ones are getting, they're less tough.
Well, I think what happened in the past 2-3 years was a good opportunity for the world to get healthier, but they used it the wrong way around, and they installed. Let's not get into those conspiracies. This is not the place, but the world could have been turned into a much healthier place, and instead they chose to close gyms, protect us, gloves and stuff like that. No.
It was almost like trying to improve health by like outside intervention, rather than saying, hey, you have this ability to be innately well. Let's just give you the right tools and the gasoline to be really, really well. But yeah, maybe we should move on.
I don't want to go extreme, but chiropractic is health, because chiropractic to me is looking at the body completely in a different way than anybody else.
Yep.
Normal medicine is like, you got a pain here, they'll give you a pill, they'll give you an injection, they'll give you a cream. Chiropractic way is, you got a pain here, let's find out what you've done, why is it hurting here, and where's the pain coming from? Let's fix that.
Yep.
So, I don't have to tell you, but I can tell everybody else.
So you're basically saying it's a global or more holistic way of looking at health.
And then I love when people come and tell me all their symptoms and all their pains, and I just look at them after they've said everything, and I say, I don't care. They're like, what do you mean you don't care? I came in for my knee problem. Okay, I understand that. I respect that, but I want to find out why your knee started hurting and fix that.
Yeah, it's not like you're an insensitive guy.
No, exactly.
No, you literally just want to get your hands on them, find out what's working, what's not working, what do we need to do in order to get that working, so therefore you can heal yourself and you can express health. So actually, I mean, I'm going to answer the question a little bit of like, what is chiropractic and how does it affect health? I mean, I would go into it basically saying, look, we're like mechanics for the spine, right? We want to make sure that the spine is working in really great condition, because that then means that the nervous system is therefore going to work at a high level. And if nervous system is at a high level, and that basically controls everything, whether it be from the brain through all these nerves, then you'll really be able to express health, enjoy life, and live without aches and pains, etc., etc. So I think chiropractic is a very, very important part of healthcare. It's not the only thing.
No.
I mean, if everybody was walking every day, cycling every day, doing yoga every day, they were eating like with great nutrition, had nice balance, healthy lifestyles, managed stress better, there would probably be a little bit less of a requirement for chiropractic. Having said that, if you want to live really, really well and feel really great and energetic, etc., etc., I think chiropractic is a great complement to like a healthy lifestyle. So it is not health in and by itself, but I think it's an amazing tool. I mean, of course, I'm going to say that I'm biased. I'm a chiropractor.
No, obviously we are biased, but think about how many people out there have no idea what a chiropractor is, what a chiropractor does, or never been to a chiropractor, or people think, why should I go? I'm fine. You know, there's this amazing quote that I keep repeating: your health has nothing to do with how you feel. Think about that. Your health has nothing to do with how you feel.
Yeah. I mean, of course, how you feel is an indicator, maybe, of how healthy you are, but not always. You know, without being too morbid, like you can be dying of cancer and not feel anything because you don't have any pain fibers in the organ transmitting this problem that you have. Equally, you might receive a really big knock on your knee, and that's it, and be in like loads and loads of pain. But you're generally a really healthy person. So yeah, I totally agree with that. And health is it's a complicated thing, but at the same time, it is really simple. I mean, if you were to sum it up, I mean, I would say, if I'm coining James Chestnut, he's quite a famous chiropractor. He talks about eating well, moving well, and thinking well. I think that's a really great start. And then also, I would probably go on to say, society, how society around that, because that kind of feeds you with certain habits and ideas, initiatives to either take healthy action or not take healthy action in the way that you eat, move, and think. And if we want to get really, really deep, we can talk about, universal intelligence and energy and how it binds us. And that's one of those ones that is difficult to prove or disprove, but I do certainly believe that, that there's something bigger than what we are just as physical matter. Yeah.
But we lack education on this. We lack education from when we're kids. Like, how old are you now?
I'm getting old, dude. I'm going to be 45 this year.
45. I'm 42, and I remember eating vegetables from my grandparents' yard. Nice. I was eating eggs from the chickens in my grandmother's backyard. So we grew up playing on trees and getting our hands dirty, like dirt. So our immune system is much stronger than kids nowadays who stay indoors all day with phones and technology.
They're like
exactly.
This. Yeah.
So it's all about survival of the fittest, and then that's why people need to go see chiropractors. People need to eat better, supplements and all that stuff.
And that kind of segues on to the next thing I was going to ask you. And maybe I already know the answer to the question. Maybe you've already answered it. But like, what drives you? Like, what drives you to do what you do, to be a chiropractor, to educate on social media? What's the thing, like, what's your burning passion that makes you do that?
Let's just say I love helping people. I've always loved helping people ever since I was a child. And you can be the best clinician in the world, but if you're an asshole, people are not going to come back to you. Sorry with my language. But, it's all about helping other people live a better life.
Yep.
And it's just a ball. You just keep it rolling. And I wake up in the morning. Some people wake up in the morning and they're just miserable. They know they gotta go to work.
Yeah.
It's bad weather. I woke up in the morning with a smile on my face, and I'm like, I'm happy to go to work. I don't mind on Monday morning. I love coming to work on Monday morning, especially because I'm leaving home 4 kids from the weekend that drive me nuts. But I love work, and my drive is just basically helping people get better. because sometimes they just need that little bit to improve their life massively.
Whether it be a particular chiropractic technique that you're going to do, or whether it just be your general vibe and the way that you are as a person.
Energy.
I think energy is super important.
Yeah.
One of the things that we have written on our wall is that we want everybody to leave our clinic with a smile on their face.
Oh yeah.
And part of that comes from delivering like just generally a good professional service, but also just the way that you are as a person, the way that your front desk are. Are they happy, smiley people? I think that's like really, really important, because the first way you can start to get someone well is by making them feel well and positive, and like, they can get healthy.
I don't think our job will ever be replaced by robots or AI. Looking in the future.
That's what I was going to ask you.
If you think in the future, it's scary the way technology is advancing with AI and all that stuff, and lots and lots of jobs will be replaced by automatic robots and machines. But our job, thank God, is never going to be replaced, because you cannot. I think so. Yeah, I'm a true supporter and believer in the human touch. And during lockdowns, I wasn't working, and I was doing Zoom calls, talking to people, and getting some history, and trying to talk to people and get them to understand what's happening, because even just the understanding of what's happening to you makes you feel better.
Yeah.
You see changes in people just by telling them, okay, you're not going to die. I don't think you need surgery, and they're like, I don't know if you get that.
Actually, you have everything inside of you and you're fully equipped to be able to get yourself well. And that's really amazing. And sometimes people look at you like a rabbit in the headlights, like, what? Well, I don't need to take this pill, or I don't need to have this surgery. And you're like, no, seriously, honestly, you can get well. You just need to follow these steps. And it takes a while to convince them, because we're so brainwashed to rely on external help, whether it be pills, whatever. And then for someone just to finally say, oh no, by the way, you can actually get well yourself. That's like pretty amazing, but it takes a while for it to.
Do you think we'll get replaced by robots doing adjustments?
I don't know. I hope not. My mother just recently, she just had, I think I've told you this, she had both of her knees replaced. And the surgery was done with robotics. Assistance.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. So I think beforehand they did like a CT scan to get a 3D image of both the knees. Both of these knees were like custom made to be put on. The robot, but the difference...
There's still a person there moving the robot.
Robot assisted.
Yeah.
But I think with time that might change. I think they're also going to go into sort of eye surgery. Now, one thing that is a big difference between a surgery where you're not going to be conscious, you're going to be you're under the knife, you don't know what's going on, and having a robot doing stuff. That's one thing. But then on the other side, if you're fully conscious and maybe you're used to having some kind of human interaction when receiving some type of service, whether it be the dentist or whatever it is, I think there's always going to be that need to have some kind of physical touch, whether it be to really understand an emotion, to really be able to look someone in the eye, reassure, tell them, look, I know what your problem is. I get it. Like, I feel that. This is what we're going to do to help you. And I don't know how a robot will be able to articulate it, but will they be able to articulate it in the way that the human being is going to fully get it? Because it's not just the words. It's the tone of voice, the body language, the manner, the way that you are, the energy that you transmit. I don't think a robot is ever going to be able to fully replicate that. Having said that, there are some unbelievable advances in AI, in robotics
in general,
and so that's really going to be a big thing. Without going off on a tangent, the demographics of the world are complicated. Populations are going down. We're going to need some robots to come in and start doing jobs for us, actually, to help us out. And it's going to be very interesting to see this balance between humans sort of co-living with robots. It's going to be very, very interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised if a little bit of our market share for the service that we provide may be taken by robots. I really hope not.
I'll get a robot to accompany the patients back and forth to the room and change the paper on the table. Maybe that.
Well, there we go. Don't tell your receptionist. They might not like that.
No, but
I think it's definitely something to consider. And actually, maybe we shouldn't think about it in those terms, and maybe we should be thinking about how can this actually enhance our practice. That's probably actually the best way to think about it, because you can look at AI and robotics in two different ways. Like, oh no, it's going to take my job. Oh, they get
work smart, not hard.
Yeah, and then just actually think, well, actually, no, why don't we harness this as well? So I think the best way is to harness it, because it's actually pretty much impossible to actually control the thing. So I think, above the mindset, how can we use it to make the best for our clients? Right, next question, really, really important. Joseph, I want you to tell me more about your book. Now, I have a copy here. It's a Fetto Wow. You're looking very handsome, by the way.
A few kilos less.
The only problem is I don't speak any Italian. I do, however, like the overall layout of the book and the illustrations. Are we going to be seeing this book in
English or Spanish?
Or Spanish, perhaps?
I would like to say yes. It's all a bureaucracy conundrum with rights. So someone from abroad, by the way, if there's any viewers who are publishers and they want to buy the rights, they need to go and buy the rights from the Italian writer Mondadori and translate it in English and then send it out. I'd like to do it. I don't want to do it with self-publishing. I think Amazon can do a self-publishing, but I'd rather find an English or American publisher and put it out in English, because I think a lot of people would benefit, and of course the English market and the Spanish market is much, much bigger. Obviously, it's worldwide.
If you could just briefly sort of summarize for the viewers, like what's in this book? So what's the basics in here?
I have put everything that I have in my head that I tell patients every day in a book.
Okay.
So it's not a story about myself, because nobody cares. It's a mixture of tips, suggestions, like things that I'm sure you tell your patients every day in their clinic.
Sure.
So it's a way to improve people's lives before, during, and after a chiropractic adjustment.
Yeah.
So that doesn't substitute my adjustment, of course.
Sure.
But it will help a person to benefit a bit more with the adjustments.
Gotcha.
So it's postures at home, postures in bed, how to sleep, postures at your work desk, analyze your work position, your station, in the car, at home, how to lift weights, in the kitchen. So it's divided in chapters. Every chapter is a situation of life. Like, I always tell women not to cross their legs when they're sitting down. We shouldn't be sitting on our wallets. All things that people don't know, and say, really? We got this thing about air conditioning in Italy. People are terrified of air conditioning. If we had people here with the air conditioning above our heads, tomorrow morning someone would call me up saying, "Oh, my neck is stuck. I was under the air conditioning." Why? So seriously, this is a funny thing. So if anybody just Google colpo d'aria, and then people driving with the window down, and they'll come to see me the day after, like, "Oh, my neck is stuck," or "My nerves are all twisted." I said, nerves don't twist. Or even people think that cracking your own fingers, that's bad for you. It's not bad for you.
Sure.
So there's a chapter in there where I debunk some myths.
Sure.
It's an amazing chapter in there.
Nice.
There's a chapter about the situation of chiropractic in Italy. There's a chapter on awareness. It's a nice gift for people, but again, it's only in Italian. And for those who don't like reading paper, I've recorded the audiobook. With my voice. You can listen to my voice for more than 3 hours, but I really want to do it in English and in Spanish. Okay, so effectively you're providing a chiropractic service in your office, and then you use this as like a way for people to be able to make the most of the service you provide. Of the service, perfect. Yeah, that's a perfect way of saying it. And the way I got one of the biggest, if not the biggest publisher in Italy, because Mondadori is the biggest publisher in Italy, to take this project on board is I went to them with my Instagram page. And I showed them who I see, who I adjust. And obviously they obviously think in a business way of marketing, and they thought, okay, if we can get these people to then advertise the book, then we sell lots of copies of the book. And it's going good. It's going good. I was hoping to sell a bit more copies, but in Italy, people just don't read. Do you think that if I upload this to AI and stick it in a robot, I could create like some Joseph Luraschi robot that could become like a top influencer chiropractor in Italy? I doubt it. Sorry, I've got a terrible sense of humor. Cool. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming. Thank you so much, Joseph, for
for inviting me.
Thank you for coming over.
It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed coming to Lake Como. It's been an absolute pleasure to come to Milan. I'm looking forward to going out for some dinner a little bit later, perhaps a couple of glasses of wine, something like that. Thank you so much. All the links for where you could find Joseph, that you can interact with him, social media, his book, that everything is going to be down below, I would imagine, in the description box. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. I'm sure Joseph would love to get back to you as well. And thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Take care, man.
Ciao, ciao.